Hey there everyone, I hope you're having an absolutely magical day. Today's a little bit unique. I'm joined by my friend Rob from Rob Plays, and today we're going to talk all about Star Wars Galaxies Edge opening real soon. Now Rob is joining me today. Rob, tell us more about yourself, where friends can find you, follow you, and you can also follow Rob at that little I button in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. But Rob, take it away.
Thanks, Michael. My name's Rob Plays. I do a lot of Disney history videos over on my YouTube channel, Rob Plays. We talk about the history of the theme parks, the company, the people behind it, and I try to find little stories within that history that really add a touch of humanity to what brought us all of the parks and experiences that we love so much today.
Fantastic. Go check out Rob and his channel, but today we're going to talk about all things Galaxy's Edge.
I'm excited. Star Wars, it's amazing.
Now, we know a few things about Galaxy's Edge, whether that's, the opening, some rides. We're going to discuss some of that today. We're also going to talk about a few of our questions, a couple concerns, and some follow-up thoughts. But so far, we know that Galaxy's Edge is set to be opening summer of 2019. Usually, in Disney terms, that means May, maybe June. Rob, any ideas on dates or times?
So my gut would tell me they'd try to go for an early May, not just to capitalize on that summer and get the most out of that summer, but it still looks like they're aiming to sort of move the movie release schedule over to May. Like originally when this whole, trilogy was being planned out, it was going to be May releases. They just happened to push the last two back to December. So I think they're going to try and get that on pace because I think that's just the perfect tie-in. The culmination of this trilogy will be coming out. It's going to be super popular, and then people will get to go and experience it over in Disney World and Disneyland.
It's going to be great. I cannot wait for it. And the two attractions, and now there are two attractions that have been confirmed by Disney. One we have a name for, one we don't. They're going to be really cool. One is going to be put you inside of a hangar, and you're going to be experiencing stormtroopers around you. This one's supposed to be kind of a totally immersive experience, and from what I've heard, Disney has been saying you get this chance to see it and actually feel like you're there. Very similar to what we've seen in Secrets of the Empire at the Void experience at Disney Springs. Super cool, by the way. I'm wondering, how far is Disney going to take that one? And then the other one we don't know as much about. Have you heard any more about that, Rob?
So I know there have been a lot of construction photos about this Millennium Falcon attraction. There's a lot of cool details that they have released that, it is going to be interactive. There are going to be multiple ways to sort of experience it, which I feel like is a bit of a vague way to put it, but which is to say that the example they use is you can either fly it really well or really poorly, and that's going to have an impact on not only your attraction experience, but your experience outside of the attraction. And then I just know that the big mystery is there are these two circular areas of the queue that everyone is talking about, like, what are they? How are they? Like, the rumor I've heard is that it's going to be some mechanism that allows everybody to feel like they're the only one stepping on the Millennium Falcon, not that, like, you're in an attraction with, a million other people in line with you.
And how they're going to accomplish that, to me, is a complete mystery. I'm really excited to see that. But one thought, that we were talking about this earlier in a video that we did on your channel, when it comes to mission space, you fly, a mission to Mars, really cool, but you don't have, full control. You have some control, but not full control. And you're thinking about how much control are you going to have on this Millennium Falcon experience. I don't think Disney's going to make it so that you can lose per se, but maybe you can do better. Do you think that it'll be a little bit more interactive in those words?
I certainly hope so, because I think that is really going to add so much value to the attraction itself. I think the sort of illusion of something like a mission space, it breaks really quickly when you realize that it just takes over for you. And I think there are a lot of, and it's interesting because I think the Imagineers are probably taking a really hard look at game theory, because it is almost in a way like a big video game. And there are a lot of ways where you can have something that is, not only interactive, but in a very meaningful way without you having like a lose state. And that might be a matter of what planet does the Millennium Falcon end up on towards the end, or like, how much, if you're smuggling cargo in it, how much cargo actually gets through towards the end based on how well you're flying. And so I think there's going to be almost like a Toy Story Midway Mania-esque score. It might not be a number, but some sort of indicator that like you did really well or you didn't do really well. And the fact that they're building it up from the bottom up means they could probably build the ride mechanics so that this is all like possible.
I sure hope so. That would be fantastic. I can see, like a competition and like the score at the end of Toy Story Midway Mania, best of the day, best of the hour. I can totally see that happening. I hope that it comes true. Now, on that note, Disney's already selling merchandise for Galaxies. It's hard to believe, but you know how Disney is. They're on top of the merchandise all the time. It looks really cool, and I'm wondering, do you think, Rob, that they're going to have things like My Banshee Pegasus right there? Are they going to have something interacting with you? Maybe a puppet, something on your hat, something to take the next step. So shirts are great, hats are great, lanyards are fantastic, but I'm wondering what's going to be that special item that everyone wants.
Maybe it's because the movie just came out, but my first thought is porgs. How are you going to get like some sort of, a Furby-esque porg out there to sell? That's a really good question. And part of me wants it to be like Avatar, and I haven't actually been to the land yet, but I hear like so much of the merchandise is in-universe merchandise. It's not like, a t-shirt saying Disney World Pandora. It's as if you're there. And so I'm hoping that that's where they capitalize when it comes to merchandise, and we get a whole lot of, I don't know, whether it's ship parts or maybe you build your own mini ship or drone or something like that sort of can exist within the universe.
That would be great. That would really be great. And now, as we're thinking about all of these great things in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge and the hotel and a lot of these changes that are coming to Hollywood Studios, one of my thoughts and a little bit of a concern. Do you think there's a possibility, I know not many people like to talk about this, that there could be a ticket price increase, not only at Hollywood Studios, but all across Walt Disney World as we see the years go by and we get closer to opening day?
For sure. I think it's going to definitely be one of their methods of trying to keep the crowds manageable. And then historically looking at the company, like we would have gotten a ticket price increase even if there wasn't a Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. They're very keen on doing their annual increases. I think the biggest corner to look at is going to be how they adjust their annual pass holder program. There were rumors for a while that they were testing the idea of annual pass holders being blacked out, not just from dates, which they'll usually do for the most popular times of year, but from parts of the park to say, if you're an annual pass holder, maybe the first couple of months you can't go to Galaxy's Edge so that, tourists from abroad can visit it. So I think that's going to be where we might see the most new types of changes to how they do things. But I think things like a ticket increase are just going to happen regardless.
Yeah, I think you're right on that one. We'll have to see what Disney has in store for us. Now, when it comes to interactivity, we keep hearing more and more about the interactive experiences, whether it's at the shops, whether you're, in the rides themselves, whether you're just walking around, there's going to be something interacting. I've even heard of the water fountains. There's going to be like a creature in there maybe that's going to bubble when you get a sip of water. Do you think, with all these interactive pieces, with the huge number of crowds that we're expecting for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge and any, big land opening at Walt Disney World, it's going to take away a little bit. It's another concern of mine, that interactive feel with all of these people there with you.
I think that might end up being the case. And to be fair to Disney, I think that's going to be something that's inevitable, right? It's going to be such, like, whenever I talk about it with other people, like, the opening of this land is going to be monumental. This is going to be nothing like I think we've ever seen before when it comes to a Disney theme park. And so I do think we're going to look at a year or two where this place is so packed that it might have an impact on how much interactivity they do, unless they come up with a way to really work on the scale of this interactivity so that they can burn through like really quickly, getting guests to feel like they're having these special moments. It might not be like droids wandering around the area, but whether it's like, pieces of the land itself. Maybe you go into the cantina and you go through a scanner or something and it says your name, like that's the sort of thing I think they could scale up greatly. It's going to be these more really special one-on-ones that it might be a while before we start to really feel immersive. Absolutely.
Now I have a really important question for you about the cantina. Are you looking forward to trying the blue milk?
I don't know. That's one of those things where if you asked me 10 years ago when I was younger, I would have been like, yeah, 100%. Now, it's decades of buildup. What is this going to taste like? I'm more excited. Like, listen, I'll be honest. If I walk into that cantina, and I know it's a set in a different planet, but if it's playing the cantina music from Star Wars Episode 4, I might start crying because, I can't imagine what that's going to be like. I might not even be able to eat or drink anything at that point. I'll be overwhelmed with emotion, just like childhood dreams coming to life.
I think I'll be right there with you. I think I will be so struck by it. I think I'll just walk in and then see the characters playing Captain Rex on the DJ. I feel like I have walked into Star Wars, and I can't wait. I'm already thinking like those emotions are coming to me, but we'll move past that. Now, I've heard a rumor about live entertainment perhaps coming to the Cantina. Someone singing, imagine Jabba's palace without Jabba or the scary stuff. Jabba's palace, there's live entertainment, there's some characters singing. Do you think that if they had some live entertainment, again, all rumor, speculation, we're not sure about any of this, do you think it would add to the experience?
100%. And I think this is, if you had told me this 5 years ago, it may have been a different answer, but my mind immediately jumped to episode 7 when they go to the sort of Cantina-esque scene, and they had the music there that I had learned was produced by Lin-Manuel Miranda. And so I think we're going to get, as long as they keep it in that sort of style of, making sure all the music itself is very Star Wars-esque and produced with that in mind, I think it will totally add to it, especially, again, a couple of years down the line when the crowds start to thin out a little bit and you can have that casual feeling of like wandering into a cantina and there's like, a band playing, and that's going to be one of those things that totally puts you into the Star Wars universe.
Absolutely. I'm right there with you. We can, there's a place for modern music, but I don't think it's at the Cantina. They got to play the Star Wars music in the Cantina, and modern music can go somewhere else, in my opinion.
My big question is going to be, will they... They won't do this, but imagine if they manage to somehow tie Sonny Eclipse into the Star Wars universe somehow. Get him, maybe like even if DJ Rex just mentions him by name, I will be on cloud 9. That's what I want out of the Cantina music.
That would be great. That would be so good. Or some kind of reference to his songs even. That would be fantastic. What a great idea. I love it. Now, when it comes to the interactions on the streets, we know that droids are rumored to be roaming around. Maybe in those first year or two, they might be a little bit limited as, the big crowds are around. Do you think that these interactions will go even beyond where, we have ICANN right now, who's going around Tomorrowland. I had the opportunity to meet him on my last adventure. I'm wondering, do you think they could take it a step further? Do you think they could take some interaction, let's say from the Millennium Falcon experience, and you're there, and the droid knows, like, you got this experience, like instead of Galactic Hero, you got some score on the Millennium Falcon. Do you think they will know and be able to bring that into that interaction, or some other way they'll be able to, really speak to you?
I hope they do. I think they will. I think the technology is all laid out there, not only with, the ability to have the animatronics do things like that, but also with our Magic Band technology. Tracking that would be so easy now. And I can picture, them having a couple of animatronic aliens or droids within the Cantina itself who, they might pick up on your Magic Band and they refer to you as like, oh, you're the one who messed up the Millennium Falcon, or you lost half your cargo on that Millennium Falcon run, and something like that. I think they'll probably, the ones I think they'll stay away from is maybe name, and we see with Rock and Roller Coaster they do like location, because I think they're gonna not want to remind you that you are from Earth and you are a human on Earth, and so I think that might be pulling it out to just be like, good job with the Millennium Falcon, Rob, like, because Rob's not really a Star Wars name, and New York's not a Star Wars location, but I do think they'll take that sort of how you performed within those attractions and they'll try and work it in. It'll be interesting to see how they creatively find ways to refer to you specifically, I think, without working names into it, because that would be the road bump into making sure because they're not going to be able to cover everybody's name, and so they'll need some clever workaround.
I wonder what they're going to do about that. You gave me a lot of thoughts about how they're going to, like, Jedi Master or a Sith something. I don't, what could they do? There's a lot of different options they have for identifying you without saying, oh, Michael from Maryland, hi, that kind of takes away, what I mean? It takes away a little bit. It's an interesting thought. We'll have to see what they do.
Unless, and this is really out there, and I don't know if they'll do this. This is me just speculating. If they had some sort of way where you get to kind of pick where you're from within the Star Wars universe before you go in there. Now, they would have to force that on, or maybe if it's an opt-in thing where you opt in and you say, I'm actually going to be from Coruscant. And so then if they see that on your, profile, then they'll go, oh, you're that hotshot pilot from Coruscant. And then that acts as a sort of identifier. And it means to sell you like a name badge that says you're from Coruscant or something.
Great idea. I can see it happening because they already have the name badges. They're one step ahead. We'll see what they end up doing. Now, on notes of interactivity and seeing what there is to see. Do you think that there's a possibility that with the new Star Wars Galaxies Edge, there's going to be some nighttime experience beyond the fireworks, because you have the Star Wars fireworks, which are great. I'm wondering, what else could they do? We know in Pandora they have, the bioluminescent forest, and it's amazing, really, really cool. What could they do at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge to make you feel even more immersed at night?
So these are two pie-in-the-sky ideas that I don't know if the technology's there, or even if one of the technologies is there. And this is just a general wishing they did more of this, but I want to see them do more drone shows like they did over at Disney Springs during the holidays. What was it, like last year? I want to see if they can play with that somehow, where they use the drones maybe far off in the distance to replicate maybe a space dogfight at night. So you've got the First Order versus the Resistance, and you see them flying around. As an alternative, if there's a way they can do, they've done building projections where they just map it onto these iconic buildings. But what if you did projections onto, like, similar to what you see with Phantasmic, a layer of mist in the sky, or clouds, like man-made clouds in the sky, where you can then work in some exciting dog fighting, like with the lasers that they used in the Star Wars show in Hollywood Studios. Something that I want it to be almost an in-universe event. I don't want it to be like, and now tonight we have the Star Wars fireworks. No, like, here's the attack on the planet from Galaxy's Edge. You get to watch it almost as its own little spectacle that's part of the story.
That is such a good idea. I can see it now. The drones to me would be like extra exciting, but in case they don't want to do that, and I can imagine, reasons why they wouldn't want to, they have the technology already to do some kind of projection with this. That would be awesome. I hope they do that. Now that wraps it up for today. Rob, thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Again, if anyone wants to find you, they can look in the link right at that I button in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, but also I will leave your channel in the description below. If there's anything that you're looking forward to most, Rob, coming up soon, what would it be?
The moment where I get to step onto the Millennium Falcon and start crying like a baby. I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be great. It really will. Rob, thank you so much for joining me today. Until next time, everyone, have an absolutely magical day.